Hey everybody, if you're listening to that music, you know what that music means. Yeah, it's Stealth Digger time. That's right. Hey everyone, DK here with Adventures in Dirt. Welcome to another episode of Digger Spotlight. And if you're new to the show, let me tell you, Digger Spotlight is a show I put on 2 times a month, a couple times a month, usually at the beginning, at the end of the month. And I'll bring in diggers from our metal detecting community and bring them on a live stream and just chat with them and talk with them, ask them some questions, and get some questions from the chat. It's usually a pretty good time, and I've had some really great guests on so far, and I appreciate all of you that have come along and shown your support for the show. It's been awesome, absolutely awesome. And tonight I've got another great guest. I'm telling you, I've been watching this channel since I got into metal detecting, and it is entertaining, it's educational, and it's always a good time to watch the Stealth Diggers. Boy, you know, how many out there are fans? I know that I am, and I've been really looking forward to talking to Digger Charlie with his Stealth Digger. So I'm going to go ahead and pull him in and see if we can see if he's around. Charlie, are you able to make it tonight?
I think I'm here.
There is Charlie. Digger Charlie from the Stealth Diggers, everyone. I'm telling you, if you're not familiar with the channel, I can't imagine anybody that's not, but that's just me. I'm a little jaded. But hey, the link is down below to his YouTube channel. When you're done watching this stream, make sure you go check it out, and you can find all things Stealth Diggers right down there in the description. Should be a good time. Charlie, thanks for coming on with me tonight and doing this. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, I was going to go over and check out chat real quick here and see who we got in the chat. I haven't pulled up my chat window yet, but looks like we've had some people show up pretty early. I appreciate all the turnout. Awesome. Real quick, hey, Beth D is in the house. Beth, how you doing? Good to see you. NEPA History and Archaeology Search. My moderator, 5280 Adventures, Tony is in the house. Trooper Bry is in the house. How you doing there, buddy? Tin Cup Tim is in the house. Florida Rob, Digging with Deej. Boy, a lot of great other, YouTubers out here that are also in the metal detecting community. It's absolutely awesome to see you. Iffy Signals, great to see you, buddy. Flash in your pan, good to see you. All Metal Mike, hey buddy, glad you can make it. Pull Tab Commando, great channel. And Deep Digger Duo, Don, how you doing? I'll get back to you guys in a minute, but hey, I just wanted to get with Charlie real quick. If you guys have questions, just want to point you out to the text that's running down below the screen here. If you type @Adventures in Dirt and then your question, it really highlights it in the chat for me and helps me to pick that out of the chat. You know, as I'm doing these interviews, as we're having our conversation, sometimes it's hard to also watch every word of the chat. I have my moderators. Hey, Mike Lyman's in the house. All right, Mike, one of my moderators, M.A. Lyman, is in the house. Listen, appreciate you guys being here. They're going to help me kind of monitor questions as we go through this tonight. So if I'm not getting to your questions, nudge one of my moderators and say, hey, get Ken's attention or something. They can always text me or something. But I'll do my best to keep my eye on the chat. But if you just do that little Adventures in Dirt thing, it'll really highlight it for me and help me take a peek at it. So Charlie, man, Stealth Diggers, man, I'm telling you, like I was telling at the intro here when I first started getting into metal detecting, yours was one of the first channels I came up upon, basically because of my buddy Tony at 5280 Adventures was a real big fan, and he said, oh, you got to check this channel out. And I started watching at that time. It's been a few years now, and boy, well, first, let's do this. What came first with you? Were you a real big history nut, or did that come after metal detecting?
I've always been an explorer and a hiker. I've spent decades hiking in the woods, and I've always just been very curious. And when I landed in this part of New Hampshire about 15 years ago, not much of this area has been developed. So you can go literally down the road into the woods, and you're on ground that hasn't been touched in 150 years. So the more and more time I spent out there hiking and wondering, it was time to get in touch with my local historical society. And that just sparked it. And I got into finding dumps and doing bottle digging while I was out there.
Wow.
And we ran into some guys out in the woods with metal detectors. Had never even thought of it. And that was it. The next day, went out, bought what I needed, and that was, 6 years ago with the metal detectors, and it just has not stopped since.
Yeah,
So
you're in a great area, I tell you.
yeah, the hiking and the exploring, it fed into me learning about local history.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible area. You live in there, and so who'd you go out with first when you first went out? When you first got a metal detector, did you go out with a group of people? Was there only one or two people with you? Like who was your digging partners? Who was your explorer partners?
It was just me and John,
You and
also known as Thunder Chief. He's the
Thunder.
one on the intro with the machine gun.
Gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
yeah, John and I have been hiking and exploring this area for 15 years, and it just we progressed together into that first and second season, and life happens. John got a new great job, so over the years it's been very difficult for him to get out, but that's who I started with.
You've had a lot of people coming and in and out, and some mainstays. And so, how did what made you decide? Hey, I'm going to start putting these YouTube videos together.
Well, for a long time, any time that John and I went out, we would always take pictures. Every time we went out, I've got a backlog of 15 years of pictures. And I always wanted to make video. I always wanted to document what we did somehow. But I just really couldn't figure out a way to do it. And then when metal detecting came along, you had that element of when you go out and find things, there's always going to be the different variables. There's always going to be something different. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I could go out and film hiking every single day. And, that could be interesting to some people. But when pulling relics from the ground was introduced into what we did, it changed everything.
How did the Historical Society receive you, or did you already have a relationship with them before you started actually bringing them like artifacts from under the ground? You know what I mean?
It literally all funneled in together.
Oh,
it was absolute perfect timing, and I was something different to the Historical Society, where it's a group of extremely knowledgeable people who know absolutely everything you could possibly think of for the town. But I was this guy who spent all my time out in the woods where nobody really else had been. And I was coming back with this information of sites I found. And it's a perfect match. You know what I mean?
boy, I bet they're so appreciative. I mean, it just sounds amazing to me. Like I can't even imagine. We're here in Colorado, right? 1850s maybe. I can't imagine, having that old of dirt that close to me and untouched areas, and it just is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm sure you appreciate it every time you go out there.
Oh, I do, and it's the dirt and the relics is one thing, but literally when you walk out into the woods a mile and you're literally standing in a farm that was built, close to 300 years ago, and the walls are still standing. Literally, it's just all that's happened is the people left, the trees have grown up, they've popped up, and the trees have grown back up.
Yeah.
That's all that's happened. It's the same.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine too when you're looking out there, and you see this home and you're like, all right, I got to find out where the farm fields were, where did they keep the livestock, and all that's part of the fun, I'm sure. At least it is for me watching your videos. I mean, I'm like, glued to it, like, oh yeah, check that out, and I can just imagine being there and noticing that. We go up in the mountains up here and find a couple rock walls and stuff. It's the same thing. It's like, well, how could anything have been here? It's so grown up now, and there's so much stuff there. Do you have much access to maps and stuff like that, or is it really word of mouth, kind of property owners knowing the history?
The majority of what we know has been gathered from spending that much time out in the woods. Yes, there is a portion of information that comes from maps, but in reality, for the town, have contributed more to the maps than probably anybody has in 150 years. when it comes to, these old home sites and things that haven't been documented.
How did there's a lot of people out there that might be here now, or they might be watching the replay later, uh, that maybe have an interest in, they've like me, when I got into metal detecting, I thought it was this real solitary thing, and I thought it was all about finding things under the ground, and it goes back to my childhood and the interest I had. But it soon immediately became much more than that. With the research I did, it became all about the history, and what was there and where people were, where was the circus, why was the circus, all kinds of stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of other people that do that, and a lot of other people also have historical societies in their general area. How did you approach them? How did you go about approaching them? Did you know somebody there already and kind of get an invite in, or did you just jump in one day and say, here's who I am, here's what I do?
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't know anybody. I just had questions, and I wanted to know about property, right around my house, because I've been hiking around here forever. And what blew my mind was the answers. They had the answers to everything going back to the 1750s. And then when you're shown pictures from the late 1800s of these houses and farms, it was just instant love. It was just, I was absolutely connected. And a lot of people, yeah, they may have historical societies where they live, but I hear a lot of the same complaints from people where their society is not receptive to what they do. That is not uncommon for people to walk in, tell that group or organization that they metal detect, they're relic hunters, and completely get turned off.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. I'm very fortunate to be part of the society that I am. I'm on the board of directors now.
Oh, awesome.
And it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Wow. I have one here in my local town, and I've been wanting to approach them, and the most activity they get into, they have bake sales and they do a lot of stuff like that. And there's a couple of historical homes that they have events at and stuff. And I haven't approached them yet. I want to. So it's something that's on my list of things to do, because I think it would be great. I think that they might just open some doors. They might be able to open some doors, but they could also slam the door right in your face. You know what I mean? So.
Right. And you know what I tell a lot of people? If you live in an area where they're not receptive, or there isn't even a historical society, do it yourself. Stealth Diggers is all about doing things independently. We try to do everything on our own or with our friends as, partners, but do it yourself. There's no reason why a group of metal detectorists or a club or an individual cannot start their own group. Yeah, we have our town societies, but there's also one for the county, then the state,
That's great. That's a great advice. Great advice. I'm sitting here, my brain's clicking because I'm thinking, yeah, I could probably do that. Like, there's a bunch of these farms around me that have been around since the early 1900s. Now, for somebody that's in territory from the 1750s and stuff, it doesn't sound very old, but that's what I have to work with. And they're abandoned because development companies are coming in. So right now they've cleared some ground, they've scraped off some barns. And it's like, I want to get in there, and I really want to get in there. Not, I want to find some stuff, but I really it'd be cool if I found some stuff, so that little spot on that topo map, that little spot that said that used to be a little, mill site or something, is going to be gone, and people aren't going to remember that. But if I can grab some relics from that and maybe start something online of, hey, my area, relic, history, something, yeah. So we'll see. It's a great idea.
Yeah, and I've seen people do a really good job of, you don't need a building to facilitate your organization. You just need people. And a lot of people I've seen, they just take their displays with them at town events or any type of public showcase and show people what they found, what they do. And that right there is great for educating the public about the possibilities of, what's out there on their land.
They must be so interested when you bring your stuff around. I mean, like
We,
crazy.
we have an entire room full in the museum.
Be bad. Have you ever done a video from the room, or do you kind of keep that
We
away
do.
from?
We've done clips from there, and people do ask, well, why don't you show more of the museum? In reality, we can only show so much. It's a museum with artifacts. There are rules and regulations to follow when having the press or media in a building like that. And I'm broadcasting the stuff, so it kind of follows under the same thing. So we do little clips, show some of the cases, but try to keep it low key.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I want to say hi to some people that showed up while we've been talking here. I want to say hello to Uper Digger 57. How you doing, man? Dog is my co-pirate. Nathan, how are you? Drummond Detect is in the house. I see Missouri Mike is in the house. I see Green Mountain Metal Detecting has showed up. Hello, Brad. How you doing? I see Plugmaster Ford. Hello, Jeff. How you doing, bud? Thanks for coming. Appreciate you showing up. Yeah, if you're just joining us, this is Digger Spotlight. We're talking with Digger Charlie of the Stealth Diggers, and I appreciate you showing up and for your participating in the chat. Hey, and feel free, as I'm asking Charlie some questions here, feel free to answer those questions in the chat too. Sometimes we'll be talking about metal detectors. Go ahead and put what metal detector you swing in there. We're talking about, how to get permissions. Put how you get permissions in there, because it really helps everyone that's watching the chat and watching the stream to kind of interact with each other. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, so it's Stealth Diggers. How did that get started? I mean, you talked about how you got started doing some metal detecting and get started kind of filming on YouTube. Where did the idea of Stealth Diggers come from?
That's always a good question, and there's misconception with the name Stealth Diggers. People think it's, night hawking, covert stuff. It's not. It's because of my involvement with the Historical Society to protect our local area. Well, it's a couple things. To protect our local area. That's why, we don't really all say where we are too often. And out of respect for the property owners, it's always been my way that when you have permission to detect somebody's property, I'm not one to go door knock. I'm not one to be out in somebody's front yard while they're trying to get on with their life. We have very large permissions. We go out there, we do our thing, we leave it spotless, and they don't even know we were there. Just to be stealthy. It's like I don't feel as though our hobby and what we do should intrude upon other people's lives, because that's happened. You get a permission, right? You go there, you're there for the entire day, and you figure, you know what? I'm going to go back in a couple days. How many people out there have been told after like the third visit, that's too much? Do you have to keep coming back? We've had that happen to us a couple times because we just, had run of the property. So when we do our digs, we just try to keep it like we were never there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Who was did you have a core group that started with you as a Stealth Digger group? Was there a number of you, or was it just a couple of you and it grew in from that? I was watching some of your earlier videos today, and I was trying to pick up on that. And did you have a core group that started?
Well, like I said earlier, it was myself and Thunder Chief, John, for that first season. And I think I made like 8 or 10 videos just kind of feeling it out. And then when starting the second season, I started Quick Digs, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go out a couple times a week, film what I do, put a video up. That's what Not Thursday has become. I've gone back to the beginning. So there was this very rapid and natural progression over the course of that second year where Faceless George I met while talking on ham radio, like right before the season started. And then Just Bob contacted me. And then I got in touch with J-Mo and then Keebs. So by the end of the year, there was half a dozen of us. And then by the third year, I mean, it just kept growing and growing and growing. So No, it's been a very consistent add-on of friends over the past 6 years.
Yeah, it's really grown into something special. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you're just amazed by it. And me as a fan watching and looking in, just seeing the changes that have happened. You've been really busy this year. 2018 has been just a crazy year for you. And somebody that puts out YouTube videos myself, I mean, I know what it takes, and my hat's off to you because you've been very active, not only on YouTube, but on a lot of other social media platforms. And boy, just congratulations, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Non-stop.
So yeah, where did you meet Keebs? Was he a friend of yours? How did you guys meet?
That's kind of an interesting and odd story. I had signed up for TreasureNet forum website there, and I literally was on it for a couple days. Keebs had done the same thing in the same window of time and found me there because he was watching the videos, and he contacted me. Neither one of us have really been back to TreasureNet since then. I mean, it's a great site and all, but it was that small window where we both were on there. He messaged me. He said, "I know where you are." And I said, "Really?" He said, "I'm not too far off." A couple days later, we hooked up, and that was it. He was just in, and we've been digging together ever since.
Yeah, it's really interesting how people become personalities. They get a little nickname to them, and off it runs, and it becomes something probably more than it was when it started. It's just pretty cool. I really dig it. So what's your digging season like? Like, do you have a certain digging season? I mean, can you go year round, or does winter really sock you in? I'm not too familiar with New Hampshire, so what's your weather pattern like?
The last 2 years, last year we were done December 8th. The year before it was December 10th. The year before it was the day after Christmas. This year it snowed November 15th.
Oh, man.
And I mean, literally, I have been out digging in the springtime in May and have had frozen ground around the lip of a cellar hole. So winter here can literally last 6 months. If the ground doesn't freeze, we'll get out and dig. But 95% of the time, it's going to freeze for 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, that is crazy.
We're done.
That's crazy. With all your research, with all your history research in your area, have you learned much and read up much about Native American history in your area?
Oddly enough, no. Right where we are, there wasn't all that much activity. Supposedly there was a main trail that kind of went through the other end of town. But there seems to be more activity out to the west of us and to the south of us.
I was going to ask you if you ever found any artifacts.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Anybody
nothing.
in your team? Anybody on Stealth Diggers come up with anything in their travels?
The only thing that has ever been found is one trade bead.
Trade bead.
But it was at a cellar hole, so it had been, it wasn't like it was 10,000 years old. But no, that's something that we would all absolutely hit the floor if it was ever found.
Yeah.
But there's not too much documented Native American activity here.
Wow. So you sure those cufflinks weren't Native American? I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's getting close to the age, though, right?
That was pretty cool, man. Hey, somebody in chat, a couple of people actually in chat have asked, how did you come about meeting with Spectrum Bill?
Spectrum Bill. Well, Tin Man Cliff introduced Spectrum Bill to the channel. He said, "You got to check out these guys. They have the same twisted mindset." Well, Bill had messaged me saying, my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and he said, "I want to go to New Hampshire and dig with the Stealth Diggers. Is that possible?" "Sure." "Where are you?" "Colorado." "And you're going to drive?" He said, "Yes." And I said, okay. And we set it up. I think that first trip out, he came, it was, I think it was late October. And Bill was here for a few days. And he said, I'll probably never be back. I really enjoyed this. And now there's been 1, 2, 3, 4 trips out every year. Become an annual thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I asked for the same thing for my birthday, but I don't know if I'm going to get the plane ticket. That's awesome. Yeah, Bill's in our treasure hunting club out here, and it's always cool to see episodes where he's on it. It's all really cool. It looks like he has a good time when he's out there. I couldn't believe how much stuff he carried on him. I mean, when you guys did that video with him unloading his pockets was absolutely insane. Like, are you kidding me? He lost 20 pounds. Like, come on, man.
None of us, not one of us, expected that. We thought Bill was just being humorous when he said we were amateurs. He was not kidding. That was mind-boggling.
How did the whole somebody in chat, All Metal Mike actually asked the question, how did the whole spoon toss evolve? Where did that all come from? Was that just something you did off the cuff and it kind of turned into a thing? Because it's kind of turned into a thing.
Yeah, it's a hook. That's what it is. Episode 50, I was digging next to our friend Brian, and another spoon came out of the ground, and we just had this little conversation. You know, at this point, we're 50 episodes in. It's like, what is it with the spoons and these people? Did they just eat, finish up, and chuck it? And I figured, oh, there's a good place for a hard edit. I threw the spoon toss, and it just stuck. Every time a spoon is dug, a spoon will be tossed.
Excellent. That is awesome. It's always fun when you see that coming along, and I know that I've even seen other people that are making YouTube channels. You know, I mean, in homage to you,
Nice.
they'll put that in their videos. I know that.
There's something very satisfying about throwing spoons.
Right.
In reality, I love filming those slow-mo clips because every now and then you just get one that's like awesome, you know?
Perfect. Yeah. The way it moves. You know, yeah, I've done one. Hell, I've done one in one of my videos, and it was funny. I remember through it, and I did the whole, just like you do it. You know, I tried to, and looked at the camera and kind of winked, and I'm thinking, people that know the Stealth Diggers and know what that's about, and people that don't know the Stealth Diggers won't know what that's about. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, awesome. So, you know, you always feature a lot of playing music in your videos. We've seen things with you know, playing guitar, and we're real familiar with some of the music you've produced. Your theme song and such was written by you and performed by you. How long have you been into music? Have you been in music like most of your life, or?
About 25 years. So I started kind of late, but 25 years just singing and playing, and in the past few years I've gotten into banjo and ukuleles and mandolins and everything else.
Do you go out and play gigs? I've seen you and Keebs kind of go out and do some gigs, and is that just kind of something off the cuff, or is it something you do regularly?
Well, Keebs owns a sound enforcement sound company.
Yeah.
So when we go, we provide the PA, and he's a top shelf sound guy. So a lot of these gigs, sometimes we'll have stuff with us, and we just plug in and play because we have the time, we have the PA. Why not?
Right.
I used to play music professionally years ago. Did that for a few years. It was exhausting. I didn't enjoy it. And then I just started writing and recording on my own. And conveniently, Stealth Diggers came along, and I had an entire catalog of music to use. And it's good. It binds everything together on the channel, but it also protects everything because Stealth Diggers is a copywritten label. All my music is copywritten digitally. So therefore, when I publish stuff, it's protected by the music.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was listening to some of your stuff yesterday, as a matter of fact, and going through some of the some of the songs you have up on iTunes. As a matter of fact, if you guys are interested, down in the description to below are links to his iTunes page, and also to notthursday.com, where you can get links to most Stealth Digger merchandise if you're interested. I think there's links there to most of Stealth Digger's social media platforms, and yeah, you just go check that out. Notthursday.com. You got to go check that out. There it is. Hey, Tony, thanks for posting that link for me up there in the chat room. You guys, when you get a chance, go check that out. It's kind of a new. How long has that site been up, Charlie?
A few weeks, and yeah, everything is there. It's become like the hub.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. It was a hub, and it looks like you can just get anywhere from there. Some cool stuff. How did the EDC tools come about?
I've always been a fan of what's known as a breacher bar. I've carried one on my person for years. It's just a simple stock piece of carbon steel with some edges on it. And they've always come in handy. And I actually attempted to get some made years ago. Myself and Faceless George did some research, and we could not find somebody in America to make it at a decent price. Everybody in China wanted to send them to us, and that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Until I met Mr. Mike Rogan, who's down in Florida. We met on Instagram, started chatting, throwing ideas, and we have built this beautiful business relationship where we help each other grow. And I can't thank Mike Rogan enough for helping me make my ideas possible and being able to share it with everybody else in SDN. You know,
it looks like a real quality product. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the new one. I got to show you this because I haven't even barely had time to show it to anybody.
Oh man, look at that.
Yeah,
it looks like it's going 300 miles an hour just sitting there on the screen. You know what I mean? It is sexy. That's a sexy. That's a sexy pry bar.
And they're great because they're tools where they're not meant to be pretty. You're supposed to take this and smash things, pry things. You know, don't use your knife. You know, I just love them. I've always loved breacher bars, bar tools.
Yeah, yeah. I'll ask my wife for one for Christmas, so she comes through with it. I definitely want to get my hands on one of those. So,
cool.
That's awesome. So, are you swinging the AT Pro? Do you take different machines with you depending on where you're headed?
No, I've been using the AT Gold for just over 3 years now. I never switch.
No. What?
Pro.
What's that? Use the Pro?
I used to use the Pro, but now it's been the Gold for over 3 years.
It's a lot more sensitive than the Pro.
It's a sniper. You guys see that I edit out a lot of the just swing time because the iron noise is out of control. But when you're swinging over a bed of iron nails from an old home, you need something that can really just pinpoint, those desirable targets.
How many cellar holes do you think you've ran across in your lifetime?
Oh,
of
man.
Digging.
Without exaggeration,
yeah,
300 maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, literally, it's a rare occasion when we find new ones within, a 30-minute drive of here, and those ones are special.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. 300. Holy cow. And there doesn't ever seem to be hunted out. I know you guys revisit them quite a bit, and you just keep pulling stuff up. Do you have a machine in your history of digging that? Have you only used the Pro and the Gold, or is there a machine that you're kind of, like sorry you ever got rid of, or wish you could have back?
No, I had the Ace 350 for about 10 days, and then I got an AT Pro. I used that for well, I guess almost 3 years, and then I got a gold, and that was it. I've messed around with some other machines. That Fisher F19 is a nice machine. I got to admit that's a really good machine around cellar holes. But no, I'm happy with what works. And you see many of seasoned veterans out there that are using machines that are 25 years old because they know how it works. They know how it speaks to them. So yeah, no, don't have the desire to get anything else at the moment.
Yeah. Let's just talk about finds. Like, I always ask people, what's your favorite find and stuff. I don't really want to ask you that. I actually want to ask you, like, a memorable find, something that really sticks out in your mind. You're just like, you know what, that was just cool because of this reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always have a hard time answering those questions because to me, it's not really about the finds. It's about the location and the history. I had found one GW cufflink years ago. Didn't know what I had until 2 weeks later. Went back to that site and found the second part, the matching part of the cufflink. That's a memorable moment. That's the day that changed my approach on how I hit a cellar hole because it's not easy. And because I wanted that second cufflink so bad, I went in there and I crawled. I went so slow and I dug every signal that I could lock on regardless of the numbers. And now this was a site that's publicly accessible. Every time you went there, there was dig marks. We had been there. And that day, looking for that cufflink, I pulled 16 more buttons out of the lip of that site. So that was a huge, huge game changer for me personally in, rim tickling.
Yeah, I bet. And that's probably your approach now from that point forward, right? Like,
oh yeah, yep.
Do you guys usually when you guys get there first, do you guys usually do a big sweep first of all, try to clear all the stuff that's shallow out, and then go back and do some tickling, or do you guys just go right into tickling?
Everybody has their own approach when we get to a site. Some will hit the lip for a few minutes and then just go off in orbit. Keebs will just go off in orbit. Some of us will just stay at the lip. I have a tendency to just circle until I find the strong side. There's always a strong side to a cellar hole, whether it was the side door that they always used, or maybe there was a place where they sat out on a picnic table. I don't know, whatever the reason, or the side that led to the well. So I will circle until I find that strong side, and then I will work that to death. And, a lot of times in a video, yeah, you'll see me running around filming everybody, but most of the day I'm spending on one side of the lip. And that leaves it open for me when I go back for a recap to know that, the other three sides I really haven't pounded out. So I'm kind of a creature of habit, and I'm very methodical, and I like to just work a small spot all day long.
Yeah. You guys, when you go out, you look like you just really get out there, out there in the sticks. Looks like you really work your way back. You guys ever run into other detectorists? You have much company with you out there? Ever run into anybody else, or is it pretty much you're just out there pretty far?
Yeah, it's a rare occasion that we actually ever see anybody else out there digging. We probably run into hunters more than anything else.
Yeah. You gotta be careful, I guess, with that during certain seasons, and I would imagine.
Yeah,
What you can do.
It don't bother me. Everyone comments all the time, why aren't you wearing orange? Yeah. I don't own anything orange. It's all black.
So, have you ever come up with something on a permission on a site that you found that was personalized, and you were able to then track down family members of the people that used to live there and return it? You guys ever had an experience like that?
Returns. Well, finding particular items that pertain to people who lived there, in particular if they were military, if they were veterans, that happens a lot. One of the coolest experiences was we worked a site. I think the episode is called Eagles. It's a few years ago, and it's a permission we have, and we spent quite a few days there. I mean, we filled an entire shelf at the museum. And that summer, a woman had come in looking for information on her family that came from our town. And it just so happened to be that, I don't know how many grandfathers back, probably in the 4 or 5 range, lived there. And the guru brought her into the room and said, "This comes from your ancestors' home site." And the woman, you could just see her face go flush. And Carla said, "Do you want to hold some of the stuff?" I'm getting chills thinking about it.
I'm listening to you, but I'm right there with you.
And she took some buttons and, whatever it was, thimbles, buckles, and put them in the woman's hands. And she literally, her eyes were just filling up because she could not believe she was holding stuff well over 200 years ago from like her 4th great-grandfather, grandmother, aunts, uncles, whoever else. That's one of the coolest things, I think, for an experience that we've ever had with, the relics that we pull out of the ground, where it's meaningful, beyond meaningful.
That sounds incredible. People have asked me in the past, what's top of my bucket list and stuff like that, and typical question, right? But yeah, I've been doing a lot of genealogy research on my family for about the past 5 or 6 years, but I've never made a trip to any of these locations where they were from. And there's some locations up in Missouri and Oklahoma, and that's on my bucket list. My things to do is to go there and do some detecting, try to get some permission to do some detecting. And just, wouldn't that be amazing, to come up with something that would tied to some of your ancestors? I think that would just be incredible. So I'm sure that blew her away, like, completely. Thanks for that story. That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, I was just checking out chat here, and I want to say hello to Chaos Paddlers. Hey, Chaos Paddlers, Marty Verstal. How are you doing? Appreciate you coming in. Pull Tab Commando, I said hi to you. Hey, Liz, Digging Canuck, good to see you. Tin Cup Tim. Let me see who else. The Thin Blue Diggers 5.0. Hey, bud, thanks for joining the chat and coming along to watch the stream. I appreciate you being here. Who else is in here? Yeah, hey, people in the chat, have you guys ever done a return? Have you guys ever found a class ring or anything like that, or done a return? Yeah, tell the story in chat and get a conversation going about that. That'd be kind of cool. I'm always interested about stories like that. To me, that makes it's always the more interesting things to me. Like you say it's not about the finds, it's about history. It is about the history, but it's also about the stories. I mean, I love it. When I can find the smallest thing. I'll tell you, Charlie, I found this button one time in a local park. I found a button. Little tiny button, had some initials on it. It was really kind of odd, had this little wagon wheel opening in the middle of it, kind of a gold plate thing. And it looked like stone, looked like the button was made out of stone. Well, for most people, that'd be just a little junk button. I went on a crusade of research to find out information on that button, to the point that I was contacting button societies all over the United States on Facebook. I was contacting clothing companies in New York that used to make old clothing and talking to vice presidents of these companies. I just went on this absolute mission. Never did find out exactly for sure, but the lady at the clothing company, I thought it was odd that she offered to buy the button from me. I didn't sell it, still have it. But it was just amazing because I wanted the story of it. And it was just, the more people I met, okay, those were more connections for me. And hearing their stories and seeing their little buttons, and it's just cool. It sure is a cool hobby, and it does have a great community. Are you very familiar with other YouTube channels?
Somewhat. Honestly, I don't watch too much YouTube. I just don't have the time, and I'm not a big TV watcher, so.
Yeah. Have you done much collaborations? I've seen people come and dig with you, and is that about the extent of it, or have you ever gone out and and traveled to collaborate with anybody else on the YouTube platform?
I haven't. I haven't. We have people that come here and visit us, and uh, at times they film stuff and put it on their channel. But no, I don't have all that much desire to leave. I mean, literally, I could detect within the square 2 miles for the rest of my life and be happy finding a button here, a button there, because it goes to the museum, it goes with that home site, and that makes me happy. Not that I don't want to go out and visit a lot of people that we've met through the years. And I think that would be awesome to take, like a winter and just disappear where it's warm. It's not out of the question, but I'm quite content here in New Hampshire.
Gotcha. We'll have to get you out here to Colorado to do that rush to the Rockies. You can come out with Smoking Joe and just.
Oh yeah, that looks like an amazing time you guys have.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciated meeting those two this year at the event. It was great. We had a good time. Definitely had a good time for sure. Did a little
they
gold panning.
brought home stacks of silver. I've never seen so much silver come home with anybody. It was unreal.
Wasn't that ridiculous? It was just crazy. I mean, they put like 3,500 pieces of silver in the ground for one hunt, and they had 5 hunts. It was just crazy.
Wow.
I dug so much I couldn't believe it. You're sitting here, you're doing this, you're swinging about that fast, and you're just as fast as you can reach over and grab them. I mean, it's all planted, and it's all meant to really, foster the camaraderie and get people together, and it's more about that than anything else, than the hunts. But we had a good time for sure. What are you going to do this winter? What do you do in the off season, like when you can't dig? You play guitar, you play some music.
Yeah, I hike year round. That's one thing that never stops, has never stopped. There'll definitely be hiking, exploring, music, definitely more during the winter. I'm going to keep Not Thursdays running all through the season because there's enough people that enjoy seeing what we're doing no matter what. There's plenty of things to be done. And I just enjoy making videos. So let's hope for a mild winter, and maybe we'll be able to get out and do some different things that still pertain to, what we do as a group of friends.
Have you ever gotten into gold prospecting?
No, I haven't. It looks interesting. And I know there are some areas here in New England that people do that.
Yeah, it's another one of these hobbies that you find a little gold in your pan and you're pretty much hooked. Yeah, I do it very recreationally, and it's a lot of fun. I started it with me and my son to give us something to go do together, and you find a little bit of gold in your pan, you're just like, it makes it all worth it. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So you never get away to do any kind of events, like any kind of public digs or anything. You said you don't really go very many places. So I wouldn't expect you to get away and go do any, planned events or digging events or anything like that.
No, I don't know. I just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just different, but that's not why I do this. I mean, yeah, I see people go to large events, or whether it's detecting or a relic show, and I'm sure they have a blast, but I'd rather just take a walk down the road and dip into the woods and be out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. You always show. That's what I like about your videos is it's not all just about detecting all the time. You really do a lot of kind of the B-roll footage of showing the walk up of the place and the surroundings, and we really appreciate that as viewers. We really like being where you're at, when we're here. But hey, I was doing some research on you earlier, and you used to be into BMX. Quite a bit. Can you talk a little bit about that, like how you got into that? And
well, I think it was back in 1981. My brother put me on a 20-inch bike, and I just rode off on it. And there was no learning curve with riding a bike. and he's 5 years older than me. So I got his hand-me-down stuff, and that was during the '80s when BMX was huge, and I was obsessed with it. And I started doing competitions and doing shows, and then I got a job in a bike shop. So that was my life for most of my life, or half my life, where I worked in a shop, I did contests, I went to shows. I did make videos back then too, with a Super 8. So I've always had the interest in documenting things and making videos. And you get older, your body starts to hurt, and everyone else gets old, stops doing it, so you kind of go off into doing other things in life.
Right. Was your older brother, was he, you said older brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he also into, performing stunts and competing and all that stuff?
No.
No. He was just a writer.
Just like everyone else back in the day, had to have a sweet bike.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching some videos of yours earlier, and it was, you guys are pretty crazy, man. For somebody that's never done it before, it always seems intimidating. You're like, geez, those guys are nuts. But
it's all control and confidence.
Yeah, awesome. So what's coming up? What's coming up for the Stealth Diggers? Like, you got any big plans you can let us in on? Or you just told us that you're going to run Not Thursday all through, Not Thursday videos all through the thing. You got any new products coming up or anything you can talk about, or any kind of big videos coming up that we should be looking for?
Video-wise, no. I'm really enjoying the "it is what it is" format, meaning, there'll be ideas of things to do. We film it. Like I did the cart path video the other day. That was just a simple thought. I'm going to walk to the end, walk back, detect. Whatever happens, happens. I'm enjoying that. It takes a lot of the pressure off my back, because doing 4 videos a week is a lot. Stealth Diggers, being the Thursday video, is, it's more of the what goes on in the weekend when everyone is here. Being that winter is here, I don't know what's going to happen. So no, I'm not planning any big video stuff. Products, yes, I'm always looking to make things that we like, that others also may like. Definitely tools. Hopefully looking at making bigger tools.
Well, I have one of your shirts, man. I can tell you that's quality product. I wear it all the time. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with it. But if people in the chat, if you're interested in getting any Stealth Digger or not Thursday shirts, there's a link down below to Stealth Digger's eBay store. But you can also just go to notthursday.com and find it all right there. You can find links there to Charlie's music. You can find links there to merchandise. He's got all kinds of merchandise. He's got sweatshirts and hats and T-shirts and all kinds of wearable stuff for this winter. They make great gifts. I'm telling you, I'm going to buy some people I know. Actually, one of them's in the chat. I probably shouldn't say that. Never mind. But yeah, it's that's right. Good stuff. I'll testify about it. I ordered one of the shirts, came quickly, and was really good quality. And I love it. So good stuff. So thanks for putting that out there for sure. I noticed when you dig out in the field, you dig with a pretty small shovel. You got a little small shovel. That's something you would recommend, or is it just a necessity because if you're digging in the woods and you got a lot of pine cover or leaf cover, and it's just enters the ground easier?
It's because I'm the camera guy. My camera setup is fairly large, and between the detector, the shovel, and the camera, because when I film Not Thursdays, it's a different setup. I can go out, I can put my stuff down, and I can work. I can hear signals, and I can take the time to set the camera. When I'm out with a group of people, I'm listening to everything that's going on around me, because if I hear somebody over here catching a signal, I literally have to stop what I'm doing and get over there before they open up the ground or before, the moment is lost. So I carry the smallest shovel I can get. And hopefully at some point in the future, there will be a more compact, smaller shovel with our name on it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Something that, the Samson, that Piranha, is it Piranha that makes them? Lachey?
Yeah, Shea makes the Samson. Yeah.
That has got to be the most incredible product I've ever used in my life. And I don't say that lightly. Those shovels are atomic bomb proof. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with that shovel, and it will not bend or break. I would never endorse anything so strongly that somebody else makes as I do that shovel. So I would like one that is a bit shorter, a little bit more compact, that's kind of in between a hand digger and that shovel. Just for portability. I mean, you're going to hike 50 minutes out in the woods. You don't want to carry 60 pounds of gear.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I'm a kind of a big guy, and I've leaned on that sucker. I have leaned on it, to no end, and you can't make that thing budge. I agree with you 100%. That's a great shovel. Hey, I tell you what, I was going to give away a Weekly Dirt t-shirt, and for those of you that are not familiar, I have a show I put on every Sunday at 3 p.m. called The Weekly Dirt. It's a weekly review, a compilation video of what's kind of going out what's going on in our digging community, and some of the finds they come up with, and featuring some channels from that week. But hey, I have a t-shirt, and I was going to go ahead and give it away to people in the chat. I talked with Charlie earlier. I kind of told him the number that I'm thinking about. We're going to do a number between 1 and 100. There's an image of the shirt I just popped up. So when you guys have a moment, go ahead and jump into the chat and go ahead and start putting in your numbers from 1 to 100. And when I see the number that I chose, I will call stop, and you'll be the lucky winner of a Weekly Dirt t-shirt. That'd be awesome. All right. And Charlie, you can't see the chat, right? You're not watching chat tonight?
Correct.
Okay. I'll just watch this for us here. It goes so quick. People are just jamming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it flies. All right, don't see it yet. People are getting close. Usually this lasts for about 10 seconds and somebody nails it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, still not there. Boy, this is taking the longest it's ever taken. People are getting close. Real close. Uh-huh. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt this to be an interruption. This is usually okay. Everyone stop. Everyone stop. Stop. I see the number. I just need to go back and make sure that no one else had chose it earlier in the list here. Let me just do this real quick. Give me 1 second here.
Did I win?
Charlie, you're the winner of a Weekly Dirt t-shirt. I'm going to send you one, sir.
Whoa.
Yep, send you one off to the shack for you.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah, I don't see anybody doing this, and this is gonna, last stream I did, the person that won the shirt was actually somebody that gave me a shout out on his channel, like earlier in the week, and it sure seemed rigged. Everyone was like, "Oh man, yeah, of course you're gonna."
That's karma.
That is drama. My gosh.
Comes back around.
It does. Oh, karma. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't see anybody else calling it out. I'm going to have my moderators go check this number for me, okay, while I get on with the interview, with the stream. Everyone go check it out. But actually, right now, it looks like my moderator, 5280 Adventures, had picked the number, and they are absolutely eligible because they don't know the number ahead of time. The number was 94. And it looks like Tony with 5280 Adventures has won himself a Weekly Dirt t-shirt. And I'll let Mike Lyman, who is also my moderator in the chat, go ahead and look back and make sure he was the earliest person to choose number 94. And then I'll let you guys fight it out. Okay. Congratulations, Tony. Congratulations to everyone. Thanks for participating with that. Boy, hey, Charlie, I really appreciate you being on with me on this today. I know you're really busy. We were talking about how many videos you put out and how long it takes you to put out those videos. So for you to spend an hour with me and my audience, I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. That's awesome of you.
It's great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, kind of wrap up the show. We've been on for about an hour right now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Charlie, if you hang on for just a second, you have anything you'd like to say to the chat room? I know that they're all watching. Before I put you on the kind of sideline and then kind of end the show with people in chat.
I just want to thank everyone who watches, obviously, anybody who has ever bought any piece of merchandise, and the patrons of the channel, because all of you make it possible for me to continue doing this, and I just cannot thank you enough.
Excellent. Do you have a Patreon account?
I do, and the
Can you
people
talk
who
what's
are
that,
there.
what's that about? What's the Patreon account?
I started it to make everything Stealth Diggers better, and it has. Every month this past year, on one platform or another, I've done like 4 giveaways. I was able to buy lots of new video equipment, which gave us the room, the space to do Not Thursday. Pretty much the majority of everything that comes from Patreon goes back into Stealth Diggers and Not Thursday. And those friends that are there are just absolutely amazing. And
awesome.
They know it.
That is awesome. 5280 Adventures just put up the link to Charlie's Patreon link, patreon.com/Stealth Diggers. He threw it up there. So you guys go check that out. And if that's something you want to get involved in, go ahead. Like you just said, it comes right back to you guys. So I think it's an awesome idea. And,
you know, there's plenty of people out there like Mike Lyman, who's not in Patreon, but Mike has contributed so much to the channel. Mike, thank you. There's plenty of other people out there that all they want to do, they hit the tip jar on the channel, and that's their contribution. And it's, again, I am so grateful for everything that everyone has done to help continue these videos coming and the community we've created. So.
Yeah, it is a great community. Stealth Diggers has a great audience. They have some great fans, great fan base. And, you know, I'm glad they're there to support you because, you know, I know how it is too. You know, it takes a lot to put out these videos. You have camera equipment that goes down all the time. And for them to help support that channel so that it can then return by giving back great things to you, it's just an awesome thing. So, hey, Charlie, I want to thank you very much for being my guest today on Digger Spotlight. If you want to hang on just 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to everyone, and I'll get right back to you. So give me 1 second here. Awesome. So, hey, how was that, everyone? Digger Charlie with Stealth Diggers. Awesome guest. Really appreciate him taking the time to talk with us, shared some great information, some great stories, and you know, if you guys have an opportunity, there's links down below. Go ahead and check out all of his stuff. NotThursday.com. He's got an eBay store there, his iTunes for his music. If you're not familiar with his music, go check out his music. His music is really great. And tonight, as I close down the show, I'm actually going to end the show as you guys are finishing up your chat with a cool video that Jen and Charlie did. They did some cover tunes. They did cover of Fire, Springsteen, and they also did Breakdown by Tom Petty, and it's a really great cover. I watch it all the time. I put it on in the background. I just love it. And then after that, there'll still be some time to chat. So listen, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting me in this Digger Spotlight show and supporting the guest I have on. It's always a great thing when this community comes together and helps support each other. You know, if you have suggestions for guests I should have on the show, you know, send me an email, dk@adventuresindirt.com, or leave them in the comments below this show. And you know, I've got some planned guests coming up into 2019, but if you have some suggestions, sure, you know, I want to make sure I'm getting guests on that you all appreciate, that have something to say. And Charlie definitely has something to say, and the Stealth Diggers will always be a great channel. I'm always going to be a fan, so definitely thank him for showing up. But listen, hey, my moderators, Mike Lyman, MA Lyman 24, and Tony at 5280 Adventures, thank you guys so much for what you do for me during these live streams. I really appreciate it. You guys take care. You post links for me. You know, things come up in chat. You kind of answer people's questions. I really appreciate that. I didn't check the chat, and I don't know who actually won the shirt. Hopefully, Tony, you won the shirt. If not, instruct the person that won to contact me at my email. That'd be awesome. But hey, everyone, thank you so much for coming out and staying with us for an hour and watching this. And if you're watching replay, thanks for coming along and watching it. I'm going to go ahead and send you to this video. You guys should check it out. Stay and watch this video for sure. And if you have any comments or concerns or questions, just leave them in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you for sure. All right, everyone, DK with Adventures in Dirt. We'll see you soon with our next guest on Digger Spotlight. Everyone, have a great night. And Merry Christmas if I don't see you before then. We'll talk to you later.
I'm driving in my car. I turn on